Alright everyone, let's get the one obvious criticism out of the way before we applaud the based boomers of St. Louis, although it's a really nice gated community within what I'm assuming is not the inner city of St. Louis, all things considered. Let's talk about trigger discipline here really quickly. I like the based boomer couple that the leftists are harassing and doxing and they don't understand self-defense. But the dude's wife involved, and you can just look up, couple defends property if you want to watch the clip there. There's a link in the description to the clip on Breaking 911. It's only part of it, but it's a large part of it. And there are longer clips that show the horde, crashing through the front gate of this community to private property. But please, your wife needs to understand trigger discipline, because you're not supposed to point a gun at a crowd of people without having your trigger discipline involved. You shouldn't even really be pointing a gun at a crowd at all, and she was waving it around in a somewhat haphazard manner. That being said, it's probably still fine because they were on private property confronting a group of, in some cases, armed trespassers. Now, I want to make one thing clear here. The fact that this group of people, this horde of rioters, which is what they were trespassing at the time, no longer a legitimate protest. Every one of them should be arrested. We have good, clean shots from their own cell phones in some cases. Goddamn, round them up and put them in the brig. These people broke down the front gate of a gated community. Now, a gated community is not... The roads and streets and stuff in a gated community are not the same as the ones like around here. I can pave a road around my property if I want to. I can extend the driveway up through the field and have it encompass the whole property. The fact that I have created a paved surface resembling a private road, a public road, does not make it a public road. I can put in a sidewalk. I can put in street signs. I can do pretty much whatever I want. It doesn't actually mean it's no longer my property. When a group of homeowners has come together and built infrastructure of this nature, this is a rich neighborhood, so these people probably have their own security cameras, and they probably have their own snow removal. I think St. Louis gets enough snow to bother with that. At least once in a while, they might need a salting truck. And they provide their services privately. Now, this is usually something that the wealthy do, because city services tend to suck, because they are bureaucratized, and they are monopolistic. And government sucks. Government provides shitty service. This is why you don't want public health care or anything beyond a subsidized option, which is like what Biden is talking about. This is why you don't want socialistic health care, because it'll lower the quality typically. This dude comes out with an AR-15 or similar rifle, and his wife with a gun to confront these people. They had already verbally threatened this couple simply for standing on their own property. They were on their own property at the time in a stand-your-ground castle doctrine state. They were not doing anything illegal. The only thing you could even construe as problematic here is when the woman with her finger on the trigger is waving the gun around towards the crowd. The dude never points it towards them. He has it at a ready position. They're perfectly within their rights to do this. Clear-cut case of self-defense if they had opened fire, because this group of people had already trespassed. Now, some people are saying, well, they opened this gate to let joggers and stuff through all the time. It is a private community. They can let in or not let in whoever the hell they happen to want. You don't have they destroyed the front gate. These groups, originally it was being claimed. The original claim in news reports was this group of people went into an open gate on a public street. They were minding their own business just on their way to the mayor's house, and this couple, because of their deep-seated evil white racism, decided to come out onto the front lawn and wave guns around incoherently. Now, I want you to notice the difference. This couple is called violent and racist and bigoted and evil and everything wrong with America. How many people got shot? 0. Chaz is declared to be virtuous, revolutionary, wonderful, a peace festival. 6, 7 people shot. A bunch of people stabbed and beaten. The reason why then people were saying, well, these people were peacefully protesting. They were just minding their own business, walking down the street. A private street after breaking down a gate. Why do you think this couple came out with their guns? 2 reasons. They heard the gate being destroyed, and they're used to tales of these groups of people attacking homes. They decided to defend what's theirs. That's the only reason that this group of people remain peaceful. They had already caused property damage. What are you talking about? This was a rowdy group already. Peaceful protest my ass. They were already trespassing and destroying private property. They had already committed 2 crimes by the time that they got to these people's driveway. They were right next to the fucking house, about 20 feet away from the front door, and the dude came out to stand there with a gun and defend his property. Now, in all honesty, he probably should have had his wife stay inside and say, the only reason I want you out here is if they get me down or they start opening fire. Then you can jump in and save my life. Otherwise, please, remember the trigger discipline and stay inside. And the dude looked cool doing it, too. He looked like an old boomer that was, like, pissed off. He's, like, had enough, and he's like, enough is enough of these fucking commies. Fucking try me. And it would have been interesting if they had. I guarantee he would have taken a lot of them out. Of course, I disavow violence. I don't want anyone to be hurt, but I mean, when you're destroying private property, you're trespassing, you're issuing verbal threats towards a person, and then he comes out with a gun. Oh my god, just keep moving on. Oh, we're peaceful protesters. Why are you harassing us? You're a racist. Hey, a bunch of leftists on Twitter and shit like that trying to dox these people. It's like, dude, this is not a public area. This is a privately cared for road. Yes, indeed, a community of people can choose to collectively build services and goods. They're capable of collectively purchasing services for their own private use at market cost. It's not just about city services. You know, these people, their problem is they think government provides everything. So if they see a street, they assume that the government built it. You don't need a government to build streets. I could build my own road in my backyard if I want to, and it's still on private property. Just because it looks like a public road does not mean a group of protesters can come up and start threatening me from it. That's not the way it fucking works, dude. And in St. Louis and Missouri at large, thank goodness this is a castle doctrine, stand your ground state. No shit, these protesters, when they saw that the dude came out with a sporting rifle, they calmed down. They moved on. They didn't storm onto his property. If he hadn't had a gun, let me ask all you lefties this. If this couple had just come out, these rich people, eat the rich, come out onto their front lawn unarmed and say, stay off our property, what would have happened? These people would have marched onto their property, because that's what they do, and they probably would have attacked this couple. You'd probably be dealing with a couple of murders right now. Or at the very least, arson, simple assault, and things like that. And because the police are so overstretched and fucking inept in these cities, they probably wouldn't have even been able to respond. This is a private gated community. Suppose these are rich, privileged individuals, like legitimately privileged. By the way, I don't know why anyone's blaming them for having made it in life. They're obvious mansion dwellers and stuff. Who fucking cares? This is a rich area. Trust me, if the police can't defend the rich, these rioters were roving through Beverly Hills shouting about eat the rich the other day. Do you think they're going to defend you in your middle-class home? No, you should own guns. Good luck finding ammo at the moment, by the way. Even you can buy online, by the way, and it's a lot cheaper, but good luck finding it. There's a little bit of a surcharge. I think you can still get $380. You know, if you want a small gun, topical defense and stuff. As we've seen, these rioters these hooligans and thugs tend to scatter after a shot's fired. It doesn't matter what caliber it is. And by the way, one last thing. This I've got to address before someone gets thrown in federal prison or something. Somebody was saying, why did they fire a warning shot and scatter these people? Do not do that. Don't fire warning shots and don't shoot to injure. Don't open fire at all unless you have no choice and you're shooting to kill, because in most jurisdictions it's absolutely illegal for you to do otherwise. So shooting someone in the leg and then saying, well, yeah, I only wanted to injure him, I don't want to kill anybody, then you didn't have a reason to fire. Unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where our cucked society, prosecutors will construe it as attempted murder, or at least assault with a deadly weapon, and you'll have a felony, and you'll probably go to jail. Because they argue if you employed less than lethal force, including in some cases pepper spray and stuff, if a gun is available, by the way, you can actually get in trouble. If you have a gun and pepper spray, and you pepper spray the person, they can charge you with assault with a deadly weapon. I'm not kidding. This has actually happened in some states. I'm not sure about Missouri, but in some cucked states this happens. Because they figure that because you fired a warning shot or shot to injure or used less than lethal while lethal was available, that you didn't have a reason to deploy a weapon at all. Unless the assailant's already armed with a deadly weapon and already attacking you, that changes the metric usually, although not always. There's duty to retreat laws in some especially dumb states. So yeah, you have the based boomer. People are turning that into an easily exploitable meme. Him sitting there grumpily looking at the camera holding his AR-15. It's pretty cool. But yeah, his wife needs to, next time that rioters show up, please, your wife should only be backup. She needs to learn not to keep her finger on the trigger and wave her gun around. That's the only bitch that we have about this particular episode. And yeah, based boomers defending their property. Absolutely. They have every right to do that, especially in a castle doctrine state. Man's home is his castle. We need nationwide stand your ground castle doctrine. This sort of, I wish that there were more of this kind of scenario and less of the stuff that we see where people are unarmed and the rioters attack them and beat them into the ground. Because that's what you would have seen here if these people were cucks and weren't armed. Absolutely, 100%. If they came out onto their lawn and they weren't armed, there'd be assaults and murders going on potentially. And unfortunately, you know, Grandpa and Grandma Boomer there would probably be lying in a pool of blood on their front porch, and then these people would ransack their house, probably loot it, and burn it to the ground. That's about all. Peace out.